Hey guys, welcome back. I know it has been a while, but I have a perfectly good excuse. As you can see, there have been quite a few changes in the Intentionally Bookish household, this little lady being the main reason. So first and foremost, I guess let's just get introductions out of the way. I know you can't really see her face because she is napping, and fingers crossed she stays napping the entire time I'm filming this video. But this is Little Miss Tuesday. She was born a few weeks early, actually, in the beginning of August, and since then our entire world has been turned upside down, but in the very best way. So needless to say, I have not been gorging myself on books like I usually do. However, when I finally decided to pick up the camera to film a video, I realized that I had in fact read more books than I realized. So that's really why I wanted to film today's video, to talk about just overall life changes, as well as basically what I've been reading. So you can technically consider this my August wrap up, but obviously it is a different format than I'm used to filming. You're gonna see why based on the type of books. I know you guys can't really see her face, but I do want to show her off as a proud mama, so I am gonna go ahead and insert some photos now from her newborn shoot. Homegirl is quite photogenic, if I may say so, way more photogenic than I am, and I am just totally, utterly obsessed and in love with her. And my husband actually has already given her an official color, which is like this yellowy mustard color, and so sunflowers are kind of like her thing. We haven't decorated the nursery yet, but as soon as we do, please believe it's going to contain lots of sunflowers and yellows and all those pretty hues that really look good on her, even though I do think she looks good in anything. But okay, so with those introductions out of the way, let me go ahead and talk about the books that I have read over the past month or so. Starting with this one. I told you guys it was going to be a different kind of a wrap up, and that's because half, or if not 3/4 of my reading list in August have been kids books. So if that's something that's not interesting to you, I totally understand. Feel free to skip ahead or join me on my next video, but I did want to talk about it because I just think it's hilarious how my reading tastes have changed recently. So this first book is just a peekaboo book. It's crinkly. You parents out there who are watching this probably know exactly what I'm talking about because it's super popular on Amazon. But this is basically just a black and white high contrast flip book that I have been reading / showing to her. The reason that I say reading / showing is because really the only words in here are the words of the animal, but then you kind of flip up and it shows you a picture, which I think is just absolutely adorable. So usually when I read this to her, I will say what the word is and kind of make the sound that the animal makes while showing her the picture. But she loves looking at this book, and the crinkly sound, I mean, I don't know what it is, but babies love it. So this is probably the book that I've read the most. Next up, we have The Bunny Rabbit Show. I actually think I showed this book in my baby's book haul video, but it's by Sandra Boynton. She's a really popular children's book author, which again, this is all new to me and I just discovered that, but she writes and illustrates, or someone else illustrates, these really hilarious but child-friendly stories, and this one is just all about bunny rabbits performing for their friends. I'm not going to flip through the whole book obviously, but you can see that there's 10 bunny rabbits. They're doing their thing, hopping around and performing, and I personally really love the illustrations. It's obviously not black and white. She's dreaming. It's obviously not black and white, but it's still really fun to look at. Next up we have Brown Bear, What Do You See? This is another super popular children's book. Someone actually gave me this at my baby shower, and naturally I had to read this one. I'm not going to go into too much detail about what this one is about, but it is about a brown bear and basically calling out all of the things that he sees, and everything that he sees are like different animals through the forest, which again, super adorable. I really like the illustrations, mostly because they look very classic, which takes me back to my own childhood. Next one is another one that I talked about in my baby's first library, which is Little P, and this one is super adorable. It might actually be my favorite, mostly because this is the first book that I ever bought for her, but it's basically about a little P who has to finish his dinner that he doesn't like in order to have dessert, but the plot twist is that dinner is candy and dessert is spinach. So I just think that that's a funny little message and a surprise ending, which, by the way, sorry for spoilers if that's a thing when it comes to children's books. Okay, so next we have another high contrast book. This is Baby Animals. That's pretty self-explanatory, and because she's so young, apparently the high contrast black and white is the easiest for her to look at. Though I have to say, homegirl, she's been looking at things that are color and it's really catching her attention, even things that are far away. She actually really likes watching RuPaul's Drag Race, so her and I already have formed a bond over that. And that goes without saying, that's clearly not a black and white show. So I don't know, but she's enjoying this even though it's black and white, but she also likes things that are currently in color. And speaking of color and vibrancy, next up we have the ever so classic Dr. Seuss. I think this one was also a baby shower gift. I actually have a couple of Dr. Seuss in the library already, and I can't remember which ones I bought versus which ones friends bought. But either way, if you're a friend and you bought this for me, thank you so much. We have already read it multiple times. This one is about Mr. Brown being able to moo, but in true Dr. Seuss fashion, there's more than just mooing. There's a whole bunch of onomatopoeia, and these are super fun to read out loud just because of all the funny different made-up words and noises that you can kind of animate as you're reading along, which is exactly what my husband and I have been doing when we read this to her. Okay, so rounding out the baby book portion of this wrap-up vlog, I'm kind of cheating a little bit because I didn't read this to her, but my husband has been reading her this Filipino Friends book. He's Filipino. I mean, not that that's relevant, but it does explain why we have this book. But we saw this online before she was even born and immediately bought it because it's just so perfect. And it's basically a multilingual book that tells a story just, you know, of kids kind of going throughout their town and pointing out different things. But the words are in English and also in Tagalog, so that the little one is able to basically learn a few basic Tagalog words as well as a lot of culturally relevant things. So I'm gonna just flip through this just a little bit just because I really like the way that it's laid out. Hopefully you guys can see this on the screen. But like, it's a pretty densely packed book, more so than the other kind of hardbound board books, but like this whole page is about snacks and, you know, when you eat snacks typically. And it's funny because all of these snacks are Filipino snacks and treats. We're very familiar with all of them in this household. But you get the Tagalog word for it, and then you get the English description, which again is super helpful and super educational, and again very pretty and just overall pleasing to look at. Okay, so next up, trying to hurry up. Okay, so next up, let's talk about the non-children's books that I have been reading. Though I guess these next two that I'm about to mention technically are children's books, but we're going to segue into this one first because it's basically been shared between myself and Tuesday, and that is the first 3 Harry Potter audiobooks. We've actually been listening to those nightly during our middle of the night feedings when I'm nursing her, and for a few hours before and after, and it's just amazing how far you can get into those books in the middle of the night. Obviously, I am a huge Harry Potter fan, and I hope to pass it on to her. And these audiobooks, I feel like, are a great transition, and they have been keeping me company in the middle of the night. Yeah, so we have been listening to those three, and it's been a while since I reread Harry Potter, and so obviously just having a reread in general just really takes me back. And fun fact, well, interesting to me at least, but when we were in the hospital with her, there was actually a Harry Potter marathon playing on the TV. So I'm always going to associate those movies from now on with her birth, because we had downloaded all of these shows and movies to watch during our time there, but ended up not watching any of them because we watched all of the Harry Potter movies and the Fantastic Beasts movies, and everybody knows how many there are, and we got through those twice over. So that gives you an idea of how long we were in the hospital, but I'm grateful for them. They're super comforting. They were comforting before I went into the hospital, and obviously they're comforting afterward as well. Okay, so the next books, these are for sure adult books, guys, I promise, but the next books are actually audiobooks, just because I have found it easier just in my pockets of time or when I'm with her to just pick up with an audiobook and continue listening. And so what we have is J.D. Robb's Fantasy in Death, which, I mean, you guys know I read one of those in-depth books at least once a month, and as of lately I had actually been binging them even more. Okay, so clearly Little Miss was not having it, so I went and put her down, but let's just go ahead and quickly wrap this up. I knew I was pushing my luck with as chatty as I was being, but obviously you guys know I'm a huge fan of that series, and I read at least one book a month from it, though the month before giving birth to her, I binged so many of them. I think I read like 5. And so this is kind of just on the tail end, but as usual, I really enjoy these books. And in Fantasy and Death, I thought it was especially interesting because they touched on kind of the virtual reality aspect. Excuse me, which I thought was super interesting. I know that it's already set in the future, but there's the way that she describes like this very hyper-realistic computer game, and the fact that it's kind of very relevant and semi-applicable to the technology we have today. It was just really interesting to see how she worked through that, especially since when this book first came out, we didn't have like VR goggles and stuff like that. So needless to say, I really enjoyed that one. I did read, like I mentioned, a bunch of them before that, the month before, but we're just gonna kind of gloss over that because I don't necessarily need to talk about all 6 or 5 of the previous ones that I had read, but let's just say thoroughly enjoyed them all. And if for some reason you've been watching my videos and you still have not picked up a book from the In-Depth series, I highly recommend that you do so. I keep meaning to do a video talking all about them, but part of me feels like it would be misleading if I hadn't read all of the books from the series, but there's just so many that I feel like if I wait until I read them all, it will either be too late or I will have forgotten a lot of the talking heads points. So I don't know, I might just end up doing it anyway. You guys let me know in the comments if this is something that you're interested in. At least that way I can maybe have an idea of questions that you might have that I can answer for those of you curious about this series. Okay, and that brings us to, I guess, the book that I am currently reading. I know technically this is a wrap-up, and I'm supposed to only be talking about books that I have already read, but I really wanted to flesh it out with another kind of adult book that I just picked up that I'm especially enjoying, and that is Live and Let Pie by Ellie Alexander. That is book 9 in the Bake Shop Mystery series, another series that I've been utterly obsessed with lately, and I've been actually trying to spread that one out a little bit more because even though it's a nice amount of books in the series, I want to say maybe like 13, it's nowhere near like 50. So So I can't binge them like I do the In Death, otherwise I'd be done in less than a month. So anyway, I actually started this one maybe about a week ago, and again, I know like pre-baby I would have already been done, but I have shifted my mindset in terms of reading. So I'm still working my way through it in my pockets of time when we go on our walks together, and I'm still really enjoying it. So like I said, I haven't finished it, but essentially this one is Jules, our main character who owns Tort, a bake shop, stumbles across a skull during a picnic, and it opens up a missing persons case. And so that's pretty much the bare bones of it, and I'm really enjoying the series so far. I don't actually think I am at the point where I've gotten too far into the mystery part yet, but that's okay, because if I'm being honest, what I really enjoy most about the series is kind of like the regular day-to-day stuff. So like seeing Jules hiring on new staff, which is what is happening, and revisiting all of her current staff members who are like family, and they all have their different personalities and quirks. Also, Jules is wrapping up renovations on her shop expansion. All of this stuff seems very mundane, but let me tell you, it's super interesting to me the way that the author writes it. And then especially because since it's a progression of the series, you're kind of invested, you know, like Jules obviously didn't have this close-knit team in the beginning, and she obviously didn't have these plans for expansion right away, but as the series goes on, that's exactly what happens, and you just want to see how everything pans out, which is exactly what I'm doing and why I'm enjoying it so far. Okay, so there you have it. A pretty short wrap up, and definitely a different kind of wrap up than I am used to. I know that it's been a while, but hopefully you guys can understand why. I have a new little one that I have been really enjoying getting to know and reading to her all of these books. These aren't even all of the books in her library, and her library is very rapidly getting to be as large as mine because every time I go into the used bookstore, my priorities have shifted, and instead of making a beeline to say like the romance or the thriller / crime section, I find myself over by the kids books, checking out what they have there, and then obviously going to my own section because, you know, mama's got to look at her own books. So if you guys have any recommendations for children's book authors or books in general, or like things to look out for when it comes to kids books, please let me know, because all I have to go off of are popular books that sound familiar, that I have heard about growing up, books that people have given me, and then when I'm doing my own shopping, just things that sound cute, plus Dr. Seuss. That's like literally my only criteria. Dr. Seuss and whatever sounds cute. So if there's any other parameters, let me know, and I will be sure to implement them next time I visit my local bookstore. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I guess happy reading, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!